All right, today we're going to dig into one of the most famous and, let's be honest, one of the most unsettling experiments in the history of psychology. It asks a question that really gets to the heart of who we are and how much we can trust our own judgment. So, let me ask you this. Picture yourself in a room. You're looking at something and the answer is obvious. It's as clear as day. But one by one, everyone else in the room confidently gives a different, totally wrong answer. What do? Do you trust your own eyes, or do you start to doubt yourself? This isn't just a hypothetical. It's the exact dilemma that Solomon Asch wanted to explore.
You know, this push and pull between what we think as an individual and what the group says, it's something psychologists have been fascinated with for ages. But Asch wanted to know what happens when the stakes are really clear. He wanted to see if people would still conform even when the group was obviously and undeniably wrong. And here's the man himself, Solomon Asch. Back in the 1950s, he set out to build an experiment that could really measure the raw power of group pressure. His big question was simple but profound. Can social influence be so strong that it literally makes us disbelieve what we see with our own two eyes?
So, how did he do it? Well, he came up with this really brilliant and kind of sneaky experiment. He told everyone they were participating in a simple vision test, but really he was looking at something much, much deeper.
Okay, so here's how the trap was set. First, you get a group of about 7 to 9 people together in a room. Here's the catch. Only one of them is the actual test subject. Everybody else? They're actors, in on the whole thing. The task itself seemed super simple. They were shown 2 cards. One had a single line, and the other had 3 lines labeled A, B, and C. All they had to do was say which of the 3 lines matched the first one. The answer was always crystal clear. For the first few rounds, everything's normal. Everyone gives the right answer. But then, the actors were instructed to start giving the same, clearly wrong answer.
And here's the crucial part. The real participant was always seated so they would answer last or close to last. So just imagine sitting there, hearing person after person confidently say the wrong answer. The pressure just builds and builds. You know what you see, but everyone else is saying something different.
So, the stage is set. You've got the individual versus a unanimous but totally wrong majority. Let's get into the results because they're pretty staggering.
So, what do you think? Did people stick to their guns and trust their own eyes? Or did that incredible group pressure get to them? How many people do you think actually caved?
On average, people went along with the group's wrong answer about a third of the time. Now just let that sink in for a second. In 1 out of every 3 situations where their own eyes told them one thing, they publicly said something else, just to go along with the crowd.
But here's where it gets even crazier. If you look at the individuals across the whole experiment, a whopping 75%, that's 3 out of every 4 people, conformed at least one time. Only a quarter of the participants were able to remain totally independent and trust their own gut every single time. And in case you're thinking, well, maybe the lines were just really similar and hard to tell apart, nope. Asch ran a control group where people just wrote their answers down in private with no group pressure. In that group, the error rate was less than 1%. The task was easy. The pressure was the only thing that made a difference. So Asch, being a good scientist, started messing with the variables. He found that you really only needed about 3 other people giving the wrong answer to create maximum pressure. More than that didn't really change much. And yeah, if you made the lines more similar, conformity went up. But the biggest, most important factor? Unanimity. Breaking that unanimous agreement was a total game changer.
So the huge question is, why? Why on earth did people do this? Well, after the experiment, interviews showed it boiled down to 2 main things. First, there's what's called normative influence. This is basically peer pressure. It's the desire to fit in and the fear of being seen as the weird one. These people knew the group was wrong, but they just couldn't handle the discomfort of standing out. Then there's informational influence. This is where people genuinely started to doubt their own senses. They thought, well, if everyone else sees it that way, they must know something I don't. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong.
But here's the thing. This experiment didn't just show us how easily we can be swayed. It also gave us the key to breaking the spell. It showed us the incredible power of just a single ally. Check this number out. When Asch had just one of the actors break from the group and give the correct answer, conformity rates absolutely plummeted by up to 80%. All it took was one other person to validate what the subject was seeing, and that gave them the courage to stick to their guns. So what's the big takeaway here?
Asch's experiment shows us just how fragile our own judgment can be in the face of group pressure. Sometimes we choose to get along instead of being right. But it also shows that the majority's power isn't absolute. And maybe the most important lesson of all is that courage is contagious. Having just one person on your side can make all the difference.
And that really leaves us with this powerful idea. It's a reminder that even when it feels like the whole world is against you, a single voice speaking the truth has the power to shatter that consensus. Standing by what you believe isn't just about you. It might just give someone else the courage to do the same.